This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
Hello and welcome to the special show coming to you from the TCS Seven Hills campus in Cincinnati, Ohio. Over the next 30 minutes, we will take a closer look at the TCS strategy for the US and the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. This is election year in the US and job creation is a major issue being discussed given the high unemployment in the country. TCS is focusing on adding more local jobs but is also ensuring that supply doesn't get impacted in the future and has tied up with various universities across the country. Stephen Arthur is among the few hundred campus recruits at the TCS Cincinnati Center and is quite excited at this opportunity being available in his hometown. Steve is now looking forward to a possible visit to the Mumbai TCS headquarters, not just to gain experience, but also to experience some of his pet Bollywood movies firsthand.
Joined right out of college, graduating from The Ohio State University in 2009, and I was really pleased to be offered a job at TCS. It's a global company based in my hometown, Cincinnati, Ohio, and some of the unique opportunities that I've had in TCS are really working with the people who are here, the more experienced mentors that are available to me, Indian expats especially. They've really showed me a unique side of the country and motivated me to do things I might not have been able to do otherwise. Actually, that's number one on my list, my to-do list. I'd love to go to India, and I think TCS will make it possible soon.
There are others like Steve who are locals of Cincinnati and have benefited from the company's local hiring drive. With lateral hiring tougher than expected as unemployment in the IT industry in the US is negligible, the focus has been on campus hiring. Between fiscal 2009 and fiscal 2011, 3,200 employees have joined TCS, which includes 291 college hires from the top 100 colleges across the US. Amar Naga, who heads the delivery centers in North America for TCS, says the center has about 90% locals and will soon be 100%.
Why not 100? Why not 100%? So that's the way to go. The 10% what you see is mostly a floating associate base to strengthen our processes, the local delivery. If you look at our Latin America, I remember being a part of the first group, right? Today we are about 99% local account base with 5,000 locals there. Probably that will be the similar model here. And this has worked in China, Hungary, Latin America. I don't see why it doesn't work here.
But to ensure the local hiring plan stays on track, TCS is also investing in the back end, which also means tying up with universities for industry-relevant curriculum. TCS runs an academic interface program and has also designed a customized 200-hour initial learning program with dedicated faculty. TCS also plans to hire an additional 60 employees from colleges during the 2012 calendar year. Dr. Gregory, Dean of the University of Cincinnati, says TCS is fast gaining its reputation as a top employer on campus.
I think they're growing in perception because it has been an Indian-based company. The question is, what is TCS and what did they do? But I think as they come out on our campus and some of our students do more internships with them, it's being a top choice for a future for our graduates.
We caught up with Ajoy Mukherjee, the global head of HR at TCS, to get a sense of the local hiring strategy in the US and the visa-related issues. Ajoy, clearly the focus has been on local hiring, at least in the last few quarters and the last few years. There has been a lot more talk about aggressive local hiring, not just from lateral but also from campuses. Take us through the overall strategy for the North American US markets that TCS has, and how do you plan to ramp it up going forward?
See, if I look at the local hiring, let me give you the perspective. Last year we did about 1,200, and this year I think by the time the year is over, this financial year we would have done about 1,500, 20% higher than last year. We are looking at hiring from campuses directly, because if I look at the overall unemployment ratio in US vis-a-vis if I look at IT per se, in IT unemployment is almost negligible, right? So it becomes difficult when you go out into the market to hire laterals. And from an overall business planning point of view, it makes sense to hire from campuses directly, so that you can integrate them well after the training, and you have a better chance of your retention being higher. So we started that program hiring from campuses about 3 years ago, and in these last 3 years we have been able to put the processes in the right way, so that we are able to train, we are able to groom, and then we are able to deploy them in programs here. So recruitment as far as locals are concerned, over the years it has been increasing. And as I look at in the future, absolute number will definitely increase as we go forward. There are 2-3 primary reasons for it. What you asked. One is the kind of engagements that we are getting into. So the Indian IT industry and TCS, the kind of work that we are doing, let's say even in outsourcing, it's a complete responsibility end-to-end that we take. And the kind of engagements that we have, where we have full services, where you have IT, where you have BPO, you have infrastructure. So the kind of leadership talent that you need is a different caliber that you need today. If you're looking at the kind of the technical architects, etc., because of the whole enterprise solutions that you are developing, is again a different kind of talent that you need. It's technology definitely, but at the same time you need continuity in the local country over a longer period of time, and you also need articulation culturally, people who are in a position where they can align with the customers in a much more easier way. So those are the reasons for the local talent and the local hiring, and that is the reason for establishing our campus hiring program in US itself. But I won't deny the fact that the visas have no role to play at all. That definitely has a role to play, but that is definitely not the primary reason for doing the hiring locally. I just give you an example between last fiscal to this fiscal. And similarly, if I look at it a quarterly perspective, today my run rate is close to 450 to 500 per quarter, the kind of hiring that I am doing. And as the business requirements increase, we'll have to gear up, and we'll have to, so that we are able to meet all those requirements.
How big of a problem is the visa rejection rates, at least for Indian IT companies? NASSCOM had put out a number of as high as 40% rejection rates for L1 visas. Is that impacting TCS, and what is your strategy to deal with that rejection?
See, visas primarily, if you look at, we work with H1B, which are work permit, and then there are L visa category. L again has 2 types, L1A and L1B. L1A is intra-company transfer for managerial talent, and L1B specialists. Both are, of course, all the 3 are related to specialist category, where you have specialization, and IT is a specialist category. And over the period, I think if you look at H1, these are applied here in US, in USCIS, one after the whole application is reviewed. And earlier days, maybe till 3 years ago, H1 opens on 1st of April. When you apply, within the first week, the whole quota is over. But last 2 years, I think it has been open till about December, January time frame. So it gives you much more time to plan exactly what you need. And L1s are the ones that we tend to use, where you have requirements that come in which were not planned earlier, or these are niche specialist kind of skills where you will send L1 people, either L1B, and L1A will be more of managerial talent that comes in, who interact with their offshore counterparts in order to make sure that the delivery happens properly as per our customers' expectations. Concerns are mostly in the L category visas, where the rejection rate has been or has increased significantly compared to what it used to be a couple of years ago. And I think the number about 40-45%, what you are hearing from NASSCOM, is the average number across the industry. And it's not only that it's the Indian IT companies, it is other multinationals are also facing a similar kind of rejection rates in India. And in India today, if I look at L1s, all the L1B has been consolidated or has been put into Chennai consulate, where they are processing all L1Bs today. Because they, from their point of view, they want to ensure that the same uniform process gets deployed everywhere, so that the earlier problem of different rejection rates at different centers goes away. But the rejection rates have not improved. Still the same kind of rejection rates that we are seeing in Chennai.
So you're saying that your strategy will clearly be on increasing the number of H1Bs that you will apply next year and reduce the dependency on L1s?
Less dependent on Ls, and Ls are used more for short-term kind of requirements, or but go towards more and more Hs, and at the same time go more for local hires, as we talked about that. So visa rejection, as I said, is not the primary reason for local hires, because if that becomes the primary reason, in that case, you have not thought out the strategy fully and you don't know how it will pan out. So for us, it is more of business needs and the kind of engagement that we are doing. But definitely the visa rejections or the visa scenario has expedited that kind of process. So it does have some implication. So last year we did go for a much larger number of H visas. Earlier we used to be more dependent on L visas. So looking at the scenario, etc., we had decided that we will go for more H visas. And but yes, L visas rejection rates does cause a concern from a business point of view, and we'll have to figure out ways of managing that. It's primarily more of planning in advance, so that you can apply for H1s much in advance before you needs more of planning.
Also, Ajay, if you can compare the skill sets that you get from a US graduate, an engineering graduate, to somebody, Indian engineering graduate, what are the advantages that you'll get? Are they technically a little inferior than what you'll get in India, but will they make it up by the soft skills that they come to offer? Can you shed some light on this?
It's a good question. From a skill set point of view, the comparison has to be, let's say, because in US I'm going to top 30 institutes at this point in time. So if I look at the top institutes in India vis-a-vis US, in US I'm primarily hiring computer science, IT, electronics. I'm not hiring from any other discipline. And if I compare technical skills, I think I will put very similar or equal kind of a footage between both India as well as US. I think the advantage in US is mostly in the soft skill side. The communication part is much better of the students who are passing out from here. And if I look at the way they articulate a problem or the way they articulate a given solution and any kind of issue or challenge that they would have, that is much better than what we find from our students in India. But in the top bracket students in India and in US, even there, I think communication side, leaving that aside, everything else will be very much similar.
NDTV Profit's non-stop 48-hour coverage of the budget gives you the edge with Vikram Chandra.
Some of the biggest names we have are going to help us deconstruct the budget.